2 hours ago, the United States confirmed what Iran had been claiming all morning. An F-15E Strike Eagle, one of the most advanced fighter jets in the American arsenal, was shot down over central Iran. One crew member has been rescued. The other is still missing. The ensuing rescue mission quickly spiraled. An A-10 Warthog was hit near the Strait of Hormuz, forcing the pilot to eject. Then 2 Black Hawk helicopters sent into the area took small arms fire while attempting to recover the downed airmen. These losses directly contradict the message President Trump delivered from the White House 3 days ago. He told the American public that the hardest phase of the war was over and that Iran's air defenses had been eliminated. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf mocked the administration on social media, suggesting the war shifted from the goal of regime change to a desperate search for pilots. Today, 36 days into Operation Epic Fury, the brutal reality of lost jets and a missing crew has overtaken the initial promise of a swift, clean victory. The conflict began with a massive, coordinated air campaign on February 28th. Within 48 hours, US and Israeli strikes hit Natanz, Isfahan, and Tehran, killing Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei along with several members of his family. Washington justified the campaign as a move to destroy the IRGC and prevent a nuclear weapon, assuming the Iranian state would collapse quickly. They expected a crippled economy and shattered air defenses to force a decisive end within days. That collapse never came. Instead, the death toll has climbed to over 2,000, with strikes leveling over 600 schools, a pharmaceutical plant, and the century-old Pasteur Institute. In the south, a drone strike destroyed a vital desalination plant on Qeshm Island. The B-1 bridge in Karaj, the Middle East's highest bridge, was struck twice in a single day, killing 8 people. While President Trump celebrated the structure's collapse on social media, Iranian officials vowed that destroying civilian infrastructure would not lead to a surrender. Rather than triggering a national breakdown, the systematic targeting of civilian life has hardened Iranian resolve. Tehran has retaliated by expanding the theater of war across 9 countries. They fired on Israel's nuclear facility at Dimona and hit Kuwait's largest oil refinery, Mina al-Ahmadi, with drone strikes that triggered major fires at its operating units. Iran also issued a direct warning to 17 American technology companies, including Apple, Google, and Meta, threatening that their regional offices would be targeted for every Iranian leader killed. For 35 days, the Iranian public has lived in near-total digital isolation, and nationwide internet blackout has cut connectivity to 1% of normal levels, leaving the population unable to reach the outside world. In this information vacuum, the government installed Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the former leader, as the new supreme leader. The revolution has transitioned into a dynasty. The campaign now spans 9 countries, drawing in regional energy hubs, global tech giants, and a new ruling dynasty into its path. This graph shows the immediate global impact of closing the Strait of Hormuz. With 20% of the world's oil supply blocked, Brent crude has spiked to $109 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate has climbed to $111. The shockwaves reached American gas pumps and the global airline industry almost instantly. Airlines across Asia and the Pacific have entered emergency management, while the Philippines became the first nation to declare a state of energy emergency. The crisis has cascaded into the food supply. Fertilizer prices are up 20% because a third of the world's exports are trapped in the strait. As a result, the UN forecasts a 6% rise in global food prices throughout 2026. The World Economic Forum describes the situation as a structural shock to the global economy, delivered at a moment of extreme fragility. Diplomatic off-ramps are failing to gain traction. Former Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif proposed a deal to cap enrichment and reopen shipping in exchange for lifting sanctions, but the Iranian government quickly dismissed the framework as irrational. In Washington, leadership is in flux. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth fired the Army's top general and 2 other senior officials this week, prompting concerns in Congress about the stability of the military's command structure during an active war. While the White House requests a record $1.5 trillion for defense, the administration's rhetoric remains entirely contradictory. President Trump has claimed the war could end in weeks. while simultaneously threatening to bomb Iranian power plants and desalination facilities. Both sides currently lack any viable diplomatic exit, relying instead on back-channel posturing and persistent threats of further military escalation. The immediate reality of the war is now centered on a missing American airman hunted in the fog-covered mountains of central Iran. In Tehran, state media has broadcast scenes of celebration. For the Iranian military, the two downed jets represent a significant victory against the false narrative of total American dominance. The White House has gone entirely quiet on its previous claims that the hardest phase of this war was over. The stakes remain unresolved. Oil sits at $111. Food prices are climbing, and a coalition of 40 nations is struggling to reopen a shipping lane the United States says is not its problem. The fire continues. Beyond the $111 oil and the missing crew, the conflict is now propelled by a dangerous psychological driver, the conviction on both sides that they still have everything left to prove.